evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It is November 17, 2010. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Hope you had a lovely day. My goodness, they are getting shorter and shorter, though. Wow, I'm coming home at 5:30, and it feels like midnight. Well, time to wake up, everyone, because we are going to learn about dreamwork tonight with Shaman Avalon Sakti. She's a trained and experienced shaman. Also experienced in the use of magic for healing and transformation. She is a trained yoga master and has taught yoga for groups and individuals literally all over the world. In the past 25 years, she has learned and taught various healing methods, yoga, shamanism in different countries, Germany, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Canada, UK. And she also teaches courses on women's empowerment, shamanism, and magic. It is so good to have you back here tonight. Sakti, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm really pleased to be here again. Good evening to everybody.
I am so pleased that you're staying up till 1 in the morning to do the show with us, all halfway across the world.
Actually, I'll have to stay up till 3 in the morning, Christie.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay,
yes,
we're just getting started,
okay,
though, aren't we?
It'll cut short my dreaming time a little bit.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt that dream time, but I hope you make up for it in the morning. I mean, dreaming, there's of course psychology has their several lines of thought about what dreams are, and then of course shamans and different religions have their thoughts of what dreams really are. Some people believe they're just, your mind kind of messing with you, not to be paid attention to, just forget about it. And then of course there's other civilizations that their whole life is literally guided by their dreams. Of course, I'm familiar with some of your dream work, and you have over 1,000 recorded dreams. You've shared a few with me, and every time I read them, I'm like, wow, how does she do that? I mean, every detail when I wake up, by the time I get to the bathroom, I have no clue what was going on the previous 8 to 12 hours. But, so, we hear that. It's a common problem. Well, I can't remember my dreams. How do I get better of that? How could we be useful, and be able to pay attention to those messages? So I'm glad we get to talk about this tonight. But to you say your dreams, of course, are a source of information, spiritual knowledge, and messages from the god or goddess, creation, all that is. So could you share with us you shared with us before kind of your path in becoming a shaman, but specifically dream work, when you knew that you were really onto something here?
Yeah, it didn't exactly start in a love and light way, to tell the truth.
So you didn't go to school and have a teacher tell you, okay, this is what you do, and then you just went home, you did it, you got an A, and boom.
No, I think it really started off in puberty. And everything seemed to start off at that time for me. And, in the beginning I had some colorful, interesting dreams, but nothing that really is stuck in my mind now. But then came the special dreams, only they weren't nice, and they were all about death. That's how it started off for me. And every night I experienced another way of being killed. Wow. And these dreams were very, very real. Somebody would be chasing after me, and then when they got me, they would stab me. I was shot. I was decapitated. It was always something else every night.
Oh, so are your dreams, is it kind of like we hear everyone else's, where you're trying to run, but you just can't get away?
I could run, but they could run faster.
Okay.
And then at some point I learned how to rise in the air. However, I couldn't fly very high at the beginning, so they tended to pull me back down by the foot. This happened every night, almost every night, and it was always a different way of dying. And I didn't understand it. I was only terrified. And then the turning point came one night when they were chasing after me again, and I was running and running. At some point, I thought all this running is really tedious. And I just turned around and I said, well, have a go at it again. Haven't we done this before? And I just let them kill me, and I was laughing. And that was the turning point, and I call this my death initiation. It seemed that death was just an illusion, something you just pass through, slightly unpleasant at times, sometimes very unpleasant, but I knew it didn't affect me, who I really am, and that was the turning point. And it did seem to open up the dreaming as well. Once I got over that threshold, I could really dream much more intensely.
Okay, so you're saying it seemed like you went through a series of dreams or initiations where you were experiencing different types of deaths before your dreams became as profound and open and magical as they are now?
Exactly. This is what it was.
Did something in your life, or did you do something to trigger that series of dreams? No. Well, the only thing that was going on at that time in my life was that I was very unhappy at home. I had this evil stepfather who was tormenting me. And I guess I had a death wish. But, having a death wish and when you're actually being confronted with it, you suddenly decide, well, no, I don't really think that's what I wanted. I would think that, I'm sure that Dr. Freud would say that was the reason why I had these dreams, but I think that they were a spiritual initiation. Okay, and you're saying this started in your childhood or early teens?
Yeah, I think this must have been around when I was maybe 15, maybe 14, 15. I can't remember exactly, around that time.
And then how did your dreams come to evolve? How did you learn to start using your dreams for insight, spiritual guidance, or for helping and healing yourself and others?
That came actually much later in life. For a while I was interested. I had a couple of dream books with symbols on dreaming, what it means, but it didn't really take off at that time. I did get interesting dreams, but I didn't record them. Sometimes I looked up the symbols in the dream book, but it all stayed very much on the surface. And it was when I started recording dreams, which was sometime after 2000, maybe 2001 or so, that's when I started writing down dreams, and it was also the time that I started doing magic. That's when things began to change, because the dreams then took off in a completely different direction. In the beginning, they went through a phase where I was releasing all kind of issues and negative things in my dreams. So I had a lot of dreams that you can't find one. All kind of, they weren't exactly very magical. They were still like, ordinary dreams. But then the other dreams, once this phase was over, which was relatively quick, then the other dreams would start coming in, the magical dreams, where I was actually changing things. And I found out that I could control the topic that I would dream about. Not the actual dream so much, but I could go to bed and I could say, okay, tonight I'd like to have a dream on one of my friends and find out the truth about them. And I would have a dream and I would see them acting in a specific way that was like an exaggeration of the real life person, so that I knew very clearly whether they were truthful or what their issues were.
Okay. All right. And so did you just start, before you went to bed, just said, okay, God, Goddess, this is what I need to know tonight?
Yeah. I basically set the intention. I would say, okay, tonight I'm going to dream the solution to this problem that I'm having. And I would get a dream. Sometimes the dream was very clear, didn't have to be analyzed in any way, and sometimes it was symbolic, so I had to figure out what the symbols meant. But I would get a success rate of over 90%.
Wow. Okay. So when was it that you started logging them or writing them down?
must have been around 2002 or so that I started writing them down, and since then I've written about 1,000 of them or so.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, I've tried writing my dreams before, and I'll be honest with you. There's like this little piece of scratch paper with a little bit of chicken scratch on it, maybe a couple squiggly lines, 5 legible words. But I read your dreams, and they're full-on beautiful masterpieces, artful masterpieces at that. So I can testify your recall, detail, vivid insight is just, I mean, unmatched. It's just, you have a beautiful gift, and obviously have been working at it for quite a long time. There's some questions in the text chat here, though, Sakti. They asked, have you met other entities while in dream state?
Yes.
Can you talk about them?
I had a couple of experiences with extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were good, and some were not. Let me see. I generally communicate with animals in dreams, and I can speak with them. So if I meet them in my dreams, I generally can talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I met certain goddesses in dreams sometimes.
Okay.
And gods. Once I saw Odin, for example. Yeah, so I have met all kind of beings in dreams.
Okay, so you help people not only decipher or interpret their dreams, but also teach them how to do what you're doing.
Yeah, I can give them advice on how to work with their dreams, how to find out what it exactly means.
Sakti, in the text chat, people are talking about flying in their dreams. Can you tell us a little bit about what that might mean? Or if you're perhaps not flying or not remembering flying, traveling, etc., how can we travel a little bit further?
I think the flying ability needs a bit of training for most people. I personally that the astral travel, that we actually out on the astral and that we're really going places. And in the beginning, you just have to learn how to operate in this new environment, because in this environment, whatever you can think, you can do. And this is not something we are used to. We think very much in terms of our normal material world, where you cannot rise in the air because of gravity. So in the beginning, it's really a thing of the mind whether you can fly. I remember when I first started flying, I would just lift off a few meters off the ground. And in the very beginning, I used to actually have to flap my arms like a bird so I could lift off. And that was really tedious.
I do that. It's good exercise, isn't it?
I'm not doing that anymore. Now it's rocket flight.
Oh, well, that's cool. I want to learn the rocket flight. But I think it's kind of cool to just, like, flap your arms, and I don't know. I always feel like I got some good exercise there. I'm just teasing. So you went from flapping your wings to just, like, launching off like a rocket, and I'm assuming that was a progression. Was there some kind of work you did in your dream to figure that out? Yeah, well, I had a lot of dreams where I was being chased after, and they were about to get me, and I rose in the air, but then I couldn't maintain the height, and I would lose height like a balloon, really, and I would come down again. And then I had to sink going higher, and in the end I realized that I could sink myself higher, but if I thought, oh my God, I hope I'm not going to sink, then I did sink. So it needed a little bit of practice. I also had these dreams where I was being chased to the edge of a cliff, and then I had nowhere to go, so either I had to let the evil get me or I had to jump off. And usually in these dreams I didn't remember I could fly, but I always jumped. Yeah, and then you remember.
Yeah, and then once I was in the air, then it was automatic, and I thought, oh yeah, I can fly. And then eventually I learned how to rise much higher, and then I didn't have to flap the arms anymore. I just had to think of up. But once I was up, I would really, like a bird, like belly down and with the arms stretched out like an airplane, I would still go. But eventually this changed too. There were even times where I was just in the lotus position, rising in the air like the yogis, and I could fly really fast like that.
Okay. Can you tell us what specifically you did to kind of go from the kindergarten flapping your wings like Christie to the flying like a rocket like Shakti?
Set an intention. You really have to set an intention with everything. Say if you had a dream and you afterwards realize, man, if only I could have done this and this and this in the dream, then the next time you tell yourself, okay, next time I'll dream that, then I'm going to fly very fast like a rocket. And if you set that intention and you maybe visualize it a few times before you fall asleep, it's going to happen because you give your mind the instructions. We had this listener calling in about the third eye, which was interesting because the third eye is to do with higher knowledge. And, of course, if your third eye is blocked, you will not be able to dream very well. So by developing your higher chakras, the third eye and the crown chakra, you will be able to go much higher in your dreaming. I don't mean higher that you can rise higher up in the sky. I mean to higher regions, get maybe more guidance from higher beings. So spiritual development in general or meditation will be good for you if you want to work with your dreams.
Absolutely. Now, the flapping your wing things, the reason I remember that so much is because I have dreams of actually, I'm teaching people, my friends, how to fly, and that's always how we start. But there are other flying dreams, and some of them that I've remembered since childhood, and it was really interesting because I think it was maybe last year or the year before where I finally put it together and figured out why it felt or looked the way I remembered. But of course, we've all heard of orbs and such, and come to find out that orbs are not always dead people or spirits. They're also living people, maybe someone in China dreaming or traveling astrally, etc. And because I used to remember that I was like sitting in this iridescent, translucent, bubble. I didn't really put that together with orbs until 30 years later? But it always felt like I was sitting, like I was gliding, or there was never a door or window or anything like that. But I've remembered those dreams my whole life.
Yeah, just traveling in your body of light. Many years ago, I had a colleague who was actually a physicist, a very intelligent man, and you would think very rational mind. And he gave me this interesting book. I can't remember the title. And in this book, it was all about how yogis in their body of light are flying in the sky, and that what is their body of light appears to people as UFOs. Many years ago, and I thought this was a very challenging, it was really challenging my belief system then. But I can believe that now because I do know yogis fly in their body of light, and it can appear like an orb or a ball of light. And I've had some dreams. In one of them, I was in an extraterrestrial spaceship, and the spaceship was completely mind-powered.
I was just going to say, some of those, I remember when I was told, okay, you're supposed to fly, you're supposed to go over here, and it's like, well, how do I do that? What do? I don't see any controls here. I don't see any gears or any gas pedals, or what do I... You just think it. Just feel it.
Everything's consciousness.
And it's like, and then you just take off.
Yeah, everything is consciousness. We are just replacing technology. At the moment, our consciousness is not developed enough, so we have technology to help us out. Technology is like the crutches because we can't spiritually walk yet. And when you learn how to do the spiritual walk, then you don't need the technology anymore.
Oh, I agree. I am so glad you brought that up. Very, very good point. Okay, so, getting back to the third eye, I guess you were answering a question in the chat. If your third eye is blocked, you're going to have trouble dreaming, traveling, remembering. What can we do about that if, in fact, that is what's inhibiting us?
I can unblock it for people with a healing. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. Because quite often I found when I'm working on somebody on the astral that the third eye is often blocked by entities. Some of these entities are very wily. Some of them are higher developed. We call them demons, for lack of a better word. And these ones are out to intentionally block your spirituality. Because as you're rising up higher in consciousness and develop spiritually, you come to a state where you will gain freedom, where no entity can affect you anymore, because you get too powerful, and then anything that is still attached to you will have to go or die. And they know that, so they try to block you, and also they don't want you, forces of darkness do not want you to develop your higher ability so that you can serve the light here on this planet. And they try to block the third eye where you have the inner guru, who gives you guidance in all things. Once you have the inner guru, you really do not need an outer guru anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not that easy to get to that point.
Absolutely, that's the source. So
the entities will try very often to block the third eye and the crown chakra. I've seen that. Most people have some kind of bindings or implants on the third eye, so they cannot attain higher knowledge easily. And other than that, if do it yourself, is meditation. You can do meditation and you can focus your awareness on the third eye as you're meditating.
Okay, now what about lifestyle choices that contribute to blocking our third eye and vision abilities?
Well, if you're drinking, don't expect to be very spiritual.
Okay.
It's either alcoholic spirits or spirituality, your choice.
You just took the words out of my mouth, Sakti. I mean, really, they don't call it spirits they call it spirits for a reason, so I like how you said that, make a choice. Okay, yes, exactly. So alcohol is not conducive to a visionary experience. What else? I mean, I think we talked a little bit about prescription drugs, GMO and processed foods, fluoridated water.
Yeah, absolutely. The fluoridated water, anything with fluoride, is definitely not good for higher consciousness. And the prescription drugs, most of them are numbing people out and zombifying them, so they can... a lot of these mind drugs, these psychopharmaca, whatever you want to call them, I have seen on the astral how they actually mess up the chakras and the brain. I can find that recently have seen that a lot of entities actually get attracted specifically to these drugs, so people then get entities from taking these pharmaceutical drugs, these mind-altering drugs. And I've also seen that quite often the chakras will be blocked up with a kind of black goo that is very sticky and hard to remove, and quite often in the brain after they take these things. If somebody takes sleeping pills to numb them out, then they probably won't get much good dreaming activity either. You just have to have a very clean lifestyle, very high vibration lifestyle that affects everything, what you eat, what the mental input. So if you're watching TV all day and putting this kind of mental junk food in your mind, I don't see how you're going to get a really great higher state of consciousness. It's up to you. It's all choices we make. And certain foods, in yoga, they say the foods that are in the tamasic category, which are the foods that are in the mode of ignorance and dull the mind, are meat, onion and garlic, interestingly, alcohol and any kind of drug. And these are to be avoided if you want to have higher state of consciousness. And then there are some herbs that can actually help people dream. And I'm not talking about, smoke the herb. I'm not saying marijuana.
There's 38,000 different kinds of herbs, so...
Yes, not the herb. Mugwort is a very good herb. Mugwort, Mugwort, and that is a herb that is sacred to the goddess Hecate, and it's a moon herb, lunar herb that is very good for dreaming and also astral projection, and can be drunk as a tea before you go to bed. It's not harmful in any way, and you can even find it by the roadside. You find it in many places outdoors. It's very interesting herb when you look at it, because the upper side of the leaves is greenish, but underneath it looks silvery, which is the color of the astral realm. And it can also be smoked, by the way. This can actually be smoked. A nice smoke it is.
Smoking some right now?
No, I'm not a smoker at all, but shamanically you can smoke things.
All right, well, I'll do it. I'll smoke your mugwort, Shakti, because I am smoking it right now. I love mugwort, wormwood, mullein, etc. But it's that time, so we will be right back. Time for some mugwort. Stay tuned to Truth Brigade Radio. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade Radio with Shaman Avalon Sakti, talking about dreamwork tonight. And, getting back to mugwort, I just want to mention, besides being used as an aid for astral projection or dreamtime work, it is also an excellent herb for women's issues, regulating hormones, menstrual cramps, etc. However, if you are not pregnant, if you are pregnant, please don't just go smoking some mugwort right now without looking into it. It's also very good for colds and flus, bronchitis, fevers, kidney stones, parasympathetic nerve system disorders, nervousness, insomnia, shaking, etc. So just kind of wanted to throw that out there. And someone asked, oh my gosh, Christie, you smoke it. Does it give you a buzz? And well, my answer is no. I don't think so, unless I'm just so buzzed.
It doesn't give a buzz.
So, so maybe you know something I don't know, but I'm certainly not. I don't feel buzzed at all in any way.
No. And this is unfortunately the problem with shamanism, that a lot of people think shamanism is a kind of getting on a drug trip, but that's not what shamanism is about. This is about connecting with the spirit of the plant. It has subtle effects. It's not going to make you see fireworks and be in a buzz or space out so that you can escape from reality because you don't want to deal.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's, very gentle. Certainly not a hallucination or...
If you take a cup of tea of mugwort, or you smoke a little, and then you should actually pray over it. You should pray to the spirit of the plant to give you the dreams, and that's how you get more effect out of it, rather than expecting a physical effect. And then after that, you go to bed and you focus on getting your dream, and then you might see some difference.
Okay, so mugwort you mentioned. What do you think about wormwood or motherwort?
Yeah, also good. I have not used motherwort, but I used wormwood in my dream pouch, and the way I got it, I asked the goddess what should go in my dream pouch, and this is what I got. The plants I was told was yarrow, mugwort. It was called moonwort when I was given it, but that's the same thing. Wormwood, as you mentioned, lavender, which is known for being very soothing and good for sleep in general, and chamomile.
Okay. And so, all right, you said a little dream pillow. Can you tell us what that is and how to make one?
Yeah, you basically mix the herbs. You can choose which one you want to have a bit more of. I wouldn't take very much of wormwood because it's very bitter, but it adds a nice note to the dream pillow. My cats are very keen on it. And I have to actually hide it from them because they go completely berserk when they get their claws on it, and they fight over it, and then they roll all over the thing. They're shredding it.
I hear ya.
They had already shredded one, and I had the herbs all over my bed. It was a major cleanup afterwards.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. You know what they love here is, oh, my gosh, what's valerian? And, of course,
valerian.
catnip. Oh, my gosh. And that stinks.
Yeah, mine go feral over that. If I give them valerian and if I have it on my hands, I end up bloody.
Well, I don't give it to them. They just go take it. They will dig it out. They will rip through the bags, and then I wake up to a pile all over, and it's, stinky shoes in the morning. I don't want to smell that.
Really? I get high on it, so I don't mean in a drug addict way, but I find this, probably because I'm half a cat myself, I really find it smell very nice.
You mean a valerian? Valerian?
Yes, I know everybody. I like it, yeah, I do.
Oh, wow. Okay, you're very special. I don't like it so much after it's dried. It's, anyways, I'll send you my valerian. But, okay, so what were the other herbs you mentioned in your dream pillow?
The first one was yarrow, which you can find all over the place. You can pick it yourself. It is a very interesting herb because it helps to repair the aura and helps to keep your aura strong so that entities can't get in easily. And the second one was mugwort. And the third one I was given is wormwood. And then the fourth one was lavender. And the last one, chamomile. And
nice combination. What do we want to do with those beautiful little, just angels? I love herbs. I love flowers. I just get so excited talking about them, playing with them, creating things with them. So tell us how we're going to make our dream pillow.
Well, it's not going to be a big pillow that you rest your head on, but rather a little pouch. Maybe 4 inches long or something like that. And you basically, either you make a little pouch. If you know how to use a needle and a bit of thread, you can actually sew up 2 squarish pieces. But unfortunately, the majority of people is not capable of doing this anymore now. But I recommend it because handmade is better. Handmade is better because when you've created it by your own hand, your intent goes in it. And you stuff the little pouch with the herbs and then you sew it loosely so that from time to time you may want to replace these herbs because they won't stay potent forever. And then you've got this little pouch ready and you can then consecrate it, meaning make it sacred. You can do that by blessing it in your own spiritual tradition, putting it on the altar of the goddess, or look up Wiccan-style consecration rituals for a dream pillow or dream pouch. And when it's been blessed specifically or magically empowered, it will be even more powerful. And then you just place it under your pillow where you sleep at night. And before you go to bed, maybe give it a good squeeze and smell on the herbs and then just fall asleep, slumbering nicely.
Okay, and that's supposed to help invite better dreams or more intense dreams?
More dream activity in general.
Okay.
And protection because of the lavender is very protective herb and the chamomile helps against nightmares.
Okay, so protection, relaxation, and facilitating active dreams. And does it help with remembrance? Or recall?
Well, for recall, you would want rosemary. However, I don't recommend putting it in the pouch because rosemary might hinder you from sleeping because it makes the brain very active. But you could, if you generally have very bad memory, cup of rosemary tea, couple of times during the daytime might improve your general memory. Again, look up the herbs for side effects. In case you're pregnant, then you have to check everything out. But generally, rosemary is very good. And it is also a cleansing herb and can be burned, has been burned in many traditions to keep evil away, so and purify a place. But it's not very good right before sleeping because you might not be able to fall asleep afterwards because it tends to make the mind quite active.
Okay. They also use mugwort and wormwood for smudging.
I didn't know that wormwood can be used like that, but it sounds like a good thing because it's a very powerful plant magically.
Yeah, I know most smudge sticks they're usually sage and, tobacco and stuff. But yeah, they, mugwort they use as well.
I shall try make my own.
Yes, hop to it. Okay. So getting back to those herbs, I think someone asked on the text chat about what do I do? Do I just go and find them and stick them in a pouch?
I usually work with dry herbs. I get them. I don't always look for them. But if you can look for them yourself, it's even more powerful. Yes, you want to dry them because otherwise they're just going to rot in your little dream pouch. And when you've got them already, you can put each type of herb in a little bowl by itself, and you can hold your hands over it and you can charge them. You can, for example, say lavender for protection, mugwort for astral projection and more powerful dreams, and wormwood for vision. And you can speak to the herbs and empower with your intent. I said it before, intent is the actual magic. Everything that's in your head, your consciousness, your intent is the most powerful force. Mm-hmm. And when you have so empowered them, then you can mix them together if you want to in a big bowl, and as you blend them you can visualize your result, that once this pouch is made you will have very powerful dreams, and charge it that way. You're charging them magically with your intent. And then you can, of course, as I said, you can do a little ritual around it as well and put them on the altar, ask the goddess to bless them, or do a consecration ritual where you sprinkle a bit of water and salt on it and wave the pouch through a candle and through some incense. Of course, don't burn it. Don't burn it. Don't burn yourself.
Yeah, always good advice.
Yes, but I think we are adults. We should be able to manage a candle flame.
Yeah, I think most of us are pretty capable. I don't know. Do we need a disclaimer here? Shakti told me to do it.
No, it's just, it's time for self-responsibility. Otherwise, we get a big brother state where you have to fill out 10 forms of disclaimers before you can do one step.
Yeah, no kidding. Exactly, responsibility. Okay, so don't burn the herbs.
And don't burn your fingers, that's right.
Yes, don't burn yourself. Yes, that too.
And, well, this is just if you want to do a Wiccan-style consecration ritual, which makes it more powerful. And as a lot of people are working with Wicca, why not, give it all the power you can get. Use your intent, use magical empowerment, use empowerment by prayer over it if that is your preference. And then you put your little pouch under your pillow in the night, and it is done. You can also add an amethyst to it. Amethyst is a good crystal for dreaming. And another nice dreaming crystal is celestite.
Celestite. Okay, I'm going to have to look up a picture of that and post that in the chat. I've not heard of it.
It's a very lovely light blue color. It has a very angelic feeling to it, celestite.
Okay, apparently I'm spelling it really, really wrong because nothing close even came up to it. Is it a C or S?
Like celestial. Celestite. I'm going to type it here.
Okay,
Celestite.
Oh, yeah, that is beautiful. Okay, so it's just like a nice, beautiful baby blue kind of, well, not a rose quartz, because that's rose, but blue. That's incredible. I'm putting some pictures in the chat now. Okay. Yeah. So that's good for dreaming. Okay.
Having a small celestite cluster or a little celestite in your bedroom is generally very nice for dreaming.
Okay. So just having one in your bedroom, or do you want to have it in your little pillow?
If you have a tiny pebble, you can put it in your pillow. If you have a nicer one that looks fancy, I wouldn't put it in the pillow. I would just put it somewhere in the bedroom, maybe near the headboard of your bed, so it's near your head somewhere. And you can then, of course, charge the crystal, program it for powerful dreaming, and that will help as well.
Okay, so amethyst and celestite. Are there any more you want to share with us?
Well, those people who like to work with orgonite, which I have as well, I've got some around my bed as well, and I have some little orgonite domes, and they contain celestite, which is, I have another little booster there. But these are props, In the end, the mind is the most important thing, but these things can help us with the dreaming. They're not absolutely necessary, so if you don't have the money for it, don't think you can't dream. You can start dreaming without expending any money, spending any money first.
And let me ask you this, though, about crystals or rocks, or you've told us some of the beneficial ones, but are there some that we should avoid specifically for sleeps or dreaming?
Crystals? Can't think of any. I mean, people that are very sensitive, if they are in a room that is completely loaded with crystals, then they might get a bit hyper. But I think this will rarely be the case unless, you've got loads of money to spend.
Okay, let me, just remind me, Dr. Larry Babcock works with crystals real heavily, and he'll be on the show next Tuesday night, but he has a collection of, big and small crystals, rocks, whatever you want to call them, but he says that a lot of these crystals contain archangels in them.
Well, I've met the archangels in dreaming before, once, but it was a very powerful experience, and they are very, very powerful and tall beings. I can't quite see them being contained in a crystal. If so, they would, at the best, you can say that you have a crystal that has a connection to the archangelic realm. But all kind of beings can be connected to crystals, yes, and there are crystals that have connection to the angelic realm.
Okay. All right. Someone just asked on the chat, can you recommend some for calming and healing?
Crystals?
Uh-huh.
It depends exactly what your problem is. I mean, amethyst in itself can be quite calming as well. Calcite can be good for healing as well. It depends what exactly the problem is. Okay. And then also your personal preference. And there are some stones I very much like. For example, I have a very big septarian crystal ball, and I find that extremely calming for myself and very grounding. Okay, and also, when working with herbs or crystals, etc., I mean, even like Bach's flower remedies, I mean, even he says just go, which one are you drawn to? Because many of them have the same abilities, and just because she said celestite, you might have something, who knows? There's so many different names of rocks. Tiger's eye, maybe that works for you, or maybe rose quartz works for you, or lapis, or something different. Yeah, lapis lazuli is definitely a very good one. Lapis is a very good one for dreaming because it works on the third eye. Ah, wow, that was one of those. In my jewelry making days, I was naturally drawn to. In fact, most of my jewelry was made with lapis. Huh. Was also sacred in Egypt. Oh, wow. And I had no idea what I was doing then either. I had no clue. I just, this is pretty. Okay, I'm going to hoard a bunch of it. Okay. All right. So, yeah, just be flexible, whatever you're drawn to, and then go from there, because there really are just so many to choose from. Okay, so we've talked about herbs and crystals for dreaming. You mentioned meditation and intent, of course, using dreams for overcoming obstacles or finding answers or solutions to issues in your life. As we talked about, well, I guess the first segment of the show, you just said basically use your intent. Just say, I need a solution to such and such problem tonight. Should we write it down? Should we meditate about it before we sleep? Or do we just simply say it? It's mostly in your mind, but I think the first thing to start, you have to get rid of the obstacles to dreaming, why you can't dream or why you're not dreaming as much as you want. So you want to be in, well, of course, stress can be a major factor, and I think we all have lots of that at the moment because times are just getting very difficult. But other than that, if you're not having enough sleep, if you constantly have lack of sleep and you are overworked, then you are unlikely to dream, so no amount of intent is going to help you. If you're not getting enough sleep, then the next step to actually dream is that you need to learn how to pay attention to your dreams. Because if you think your dreams are unimportant things, or you get them and you think, I have no time for that, I got to get out of bed, I got to go to work, you got to make time for the dreaming. Having a notepad somewhere by the side of the bed so that when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can just even drop down a few words on the notepad, maybe with one of these pens that have a little built-in light, so you don't have to switch on the light, but you can write on your notepad. And another one of my favorites that has brought me best results, is to have a little recording device in your bed. Now, don't think of this as a kinky thing.
Not a video camera, audio. Okay.
No, not that. Not that. At the moment, I'm having a little, like a little dictaphone where you can record things like in a meeting. And if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm too tired to get out of bed, I just switch it on and I just speak what I remember on it. And the next day I'm surprised at, sometimes I had no clue what was on there, but when I hear my own voice and when I hear these things that I said, then I remember the rest of the dream as well. So that can be useful. Just the fact that you're paying attention to your dreams and that you now understand that they are important will make you have more dreams. We are being trained in our society to think that dreams are unimportant things, and I think this is also part of the, you could say, conspiracy, that's to take us away from anything that can get us to higher knowledge. Mm-hmm. If you've seen the movie The Brave New World, they actually stopped the children from dreaming. And why would that be?
Yeah.
It's because Goddess speaks to us in dreams, through dreams. Mm-hmm. And we have access to power through those dreams.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, especially if we learn to pay attention to them. You mentioned light, though. You know, if you do get a pen and a paper, get one with a little light so you don't have to turn the light on. The light is literally like the angel of death. When it comes to remembering your dreams, I tell you, I mean, if I just even look towards the window and there's a little bit shining in, dream's gone. It's so we probably want to keep the room dark, right, while we're trying to recall.
Yeah, recording device can be helpful there because sometimes the act of writing in itself, especially if you're using the right hand, that's the side of the brain which is analytical, with the left brain, the right hand, that seems to switch you in a completely different mode of thinking. So I find the recording device, it's a bit of a high-tech version, works quite well. But there, when I had big dreams, really big dreams that were very powerful, then I would get up in the middle of the night, even at 2 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes write for an hour or two until I had it down, because I knew it was a very important message from Spirit, and I wanted to get everything out of my memory that I still had. And that's why some of these dreams, Christie, that you read are so detailed, because I really did virtually get out of bed immediately afterwards thinking, oh my God, I got to write this down. Mm-hmm. And went to the computer and typed there in the middle of the night.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So whatever you do, just make sure you capture it as soon as possible. Shakti, we have a caller on the line. It looks like a Skype call. So if that is you, welcome to the show.
Happy birthday, Christie. Happy birthday, Shakti.
Happy birthday, Louie. How you doing tonight?
Thank you, ma'am. I just want to, I had like this really strange dream, and I told Christie about it. I started telling Christie about it, It just recently came to me. Maybe if you could, like, let me know what it means or something like that, if that's cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a dream that my name was Mr. Venezuela, and and I was a janitor at an elementary school, and apparently I was having a bad day because someone defecated in a urinal. And
Louie, you did this one before. You did this joke. I thought you had a real question.
You know what?
I knew that he was going to take the Mickey out of us. I knew it.
Oh, well, anyway, I'm going to have my...
Louie B, meet Shakti.
I know Sakti. She's my nemesis. Anyways, I'm going to go home and eat a baby... I'm going to go eat a baby egg and cheese. So, I mean...
Are you serious, Louie? You're not going to share a real dream with us tonight?
Do you really want to know what my dream is?
We do.
To finally get through a joke without you interrupting. So there.
Well, you know what? Why don't you call in with new material? Oh.
Program that for tonight.
Okay. You could bite All right. I understand. You could bite the left cheek. Sakti could bite the left cheek. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, butterfly.
All right, Louie, love you. Oh, that's great.
I knew he was going to pull one on us. I knew it.
You know, I thought he had something serious today, but I guess that's what I get for thinking. So, woohoo, it is break time. Well, stop the thinking. We'll be right back. Truth Brigade Radio. Shakti, you mentioned programmed dreams. How can we start to learn to program our dreams?
Basically, you just go to bed. When you're lying down there, you first set the intention on what kind of dream you want to have. And your intention should be very clear. So give it some thought before you go to bed, so you're not thinking maybe this and maybe that, because then you get wishy-washy results if you're not very clear.
Okay, so you mean like what kind of dream? Are we going to program the type of dream, or we're going to program what we want to dream about?
You could do both, but I generally say... I usually have a topic. For example, I may say, okay, I want healing of this and that. Tell me how I can heal this problem. Or I will say, show me the cause of this problem in my life. What is causing this? And then I will have a dream that shows me what is the cause of the problem so I can correct it. Or I will say, show me the truth about a particular person, or show me whether this is the right way to go, and if I go down that path, what would be the outcome. Things like this. And sometimes I say that, give me an adventure.
Okay, well, there you go. That sounds fun. But say when you're asking for clarification on something, should I choose this path or the other, or what would the road look ahead if I make this decision? Do the dreams... Are they like prophetic of sorts? Do you experience visions of real-life events, or perhaps even travel to that future place and time? Or are they more symbolic, or is it a combination of all?
It's different every time. Sometimes it's showing me what can happen in a symbolic way, and sometimes I see actual life events. I had actually seen things about customers that I would get in my business. Years ago I had that. And even how much money I would get, that was really funny. And I thought, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to get 3 new customers who are going to spend a good amount of money. It did happen. And I dreamt about friends, and I saw them doing evil in dreams, and what kind of evil they were doing, and didn't think this could be true. And then afterwards I saw, yes, they did inside go over to the dark side, even though they didn't figure it themselves what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They still thought they were operating within the light, but actually no, they were not. And I get it sometimes symbolic and sometimes I get the actual thing. For example, if I ask for healing, I might get the names of herbs that I should use or crystals. Sometimes I was given a particular ritual to do in detail with the complete spell work versus deities to invoke, ingredients and everything.
Okay.
And sometimes I just wanted to have fun, then I would say that give me a magical dream. Yeah, I think some people would have a different idea about fun. My fun usually means give me some kind of magical dream or give me a powerful dream. I didn't say give me a sexy dream, no. I don't have to program that.
What I like to do is just ask, what do you want me to know? What do you want me to see? What do I need to know right now? Is that too vague?
It depends, who wants you to see what, The other night I prayed, show me truth. And boy, was I shown.
Okay, well, that could, all right. That could be vague or, of course, specific as well. Okay, I guess I just assume that the dream creators, gods, goddesses, etc., kind of probably knows more about what I need to know to make my next step than I do, or any of us, because we're viewing the world from an extremely limited perspective. Our mind, obviously can't comprehend all there is out there. A perfect example, we talked about DNA last night, and of course science wants to tell us that 96% of it is considered junk. Okay, so we have all the answers? Not, I don't think so. And I'm perfectly okay with that, because I figure whoever is guiding us probably has a little more insight into what I need to know than what I think I might want to know. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But you still want to narrow it down because you may need to know a lot of things. Maybe you need to know about the New World Order, what they are planning. Maybe you need to know what's going on in your relationship. Maybe you need to know something in your body that needs healing. So it's good to narrow it down a little bit. And then find a phrase, a very short phrase, because if you make it into a 20-sentence thing, it gets too blurry. So once you have set your intent and you know the topic you want to dream about or the particular matter that you need some guidance in, then narrow it down to a short phrase, such as show me the truth or give me guidance on healing or show me the way out of this. And keep on repeating this short phrase over and over as you're falling asleep. And in between, weave a little sentence of, I will dream this tonight and I will remember. And then back to, show me the truth, give me guidance, I will dream and I will remember. And if you do this for the 5 or 10 minutes that it takes you to fall asleep, you're very likely to get a dream on topic.
Okay, all right. So kind of focus or meditate on that as you're falling asleep.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds easy enough. Now, is this one of those things where it's going to take a lot of work, practice makes perfect, or are we going to get frustrated maybe the first couple days and disappointed, oh, darn, I didn't remember everything like I was supposed to? And if we do get those feelings, how do we combat that?
Very good question, Christie. It doesn't have to be complicated unless you have a belief system that it needs to be complicated. And if it doesn't work out for the first time, then maybe you wanted to prove to yourself that you can't do it because you're special and you're incapable of doing it.
Yes,
no, it's a human ability. Everybody can do it, everybody has a connection to all that is. You just got to plug yourself in, and your intent is the plug. That's all there is to it. And if you don't succeed at first, try again.
Very good. I just saw, my goodness, a comment just came up on the chat, someone describing her dream, and I didn't get to read it all, but some of it I read, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a dream just like that. So let me read, or almost like that, let me read her comment. She says, I set the intention one night to be shown who I am and what my purpose is. I was brought to a cloud-like area where I was on a pedestal surrounded by several astral entities. And what happened was white light came in through my crown, Sakti, I think I told you about this dream, and out through my hands. I was also talked to for what seemed like a long time, where I felt at the time, oh, I understand, and thought in my dream, I'll remember what I was told. And then she says she couldn't remember. Does Sakti know what that can mean? And I just have to say, Kate, I went through the exact same experience, just, wow, maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago. It went through my crown, all the way through my body, and it was orgasmic, literally. I mean, it was a pretty incredible, intense experience, and I felt there, okay, I get it now, I have all the answers, and and I actually came up to the computer to write it down, and I got here and I forgot everything.
Yeah, because what happens here is that you have been told, and a part of you knows exactly, but your ego self and your rational mind self cannot accept it, probably because it is so big that you think that you little thing can't do that. Because we are all much greater than we are taught we are. We have much more power than we are taught that we do have. So to me, this dream means that she's really been with higher beings. These were higher beings, and they were empowering her, and they sent the light through her crown chakra, which means guidance directly from God. God is all that is. And the fact that it came out through the hands apparently would mean that she has some healing powers or something special that she needs to do with her hand. Could be artistic, creative as well. And but it also shows that all the energy channels were opening up. And she may at some time later remember it if she meditates, but it is not so important to remember it, but just accept that there is a higher purpose to her life, and if she follows her heart and watches out for her dreams, it will be revealed to her eventually.
She just wrote in the chat, yes, I understood completely in the dream. It all seemed so simple. And that's exactly how I felt. It's, oh my gosh, I've got it now. I have all the answers. I know who I am. I know what I'm here to do. I know why I'm right here. And it did. It's always so simple. And then it's like, boom, gone. Oh, sorry, you're not going to know. We're just going to put you out there, on the planet, totally, completely lost, searching for clues, little puzzle pieces. I mean, even though we don't even know what the full puzzle looks like, so we don't even know what goes together because we don't know the end result. But, wow, that's amazing. We had the same experience there, K-Girl. That's incredible. So how do we get past that? It's like her and I obviously feel a little disappointed. It's like, darn, it was just so simple and made so much sense at the time. Why did we forget?
Yeah, because it's too high. It's too high for... you have to remember it with your brain, and your brain isn't calibrated yet. It's not calibrated for higher knowledge, and therefore you can't bring it back. This is very common in shamanic journeying, and it happens in dreams, and it happens in visions. If you're doing an ayahuasca ceremony, the same thing can happen, because your brain needs to learn how to operate in these higher frequencies, and because it can't do that yet, you cannot bring the knowledge back. So what you need to do is you have to raise your vibration by meditation, by living a clean lifestyle, by purifying your energy body through pranayama, through prayer, living ethically. And eventually your vibration will rise to a point where you're able to hold the information.
Yeah, dream state to awake state, I mean, it completely switches different sides of our brain. It goes from the neurotransmitter system to the opposing transmitter system, dominated by the serotonergic and noradrenergic systems.
Yeah, also when it comes to dream recall, try not to move around. If you wake up and you're lying on your right side, don't switch over to the left side, because that alone can sometimes trigger you to lose the dream or part of it.
Oh, okay, so stay right where you are. Okay, because that's something I know I do immediately. When I get up, it's like, oh, okay, I want to go back. And then I turn over, just, I don't know why. I guess it's just something I instinctively do. So you're saying stay put. That'll help.
Yes.
Okay. And, of course, you suggested writing or taping yourself. Which is less of a disturbance to our brain? Because when it's switching over to opposite sides from dream to waking state, they say both writing and talking will trigger it going to the opposite side. So when we come back from this break, let's try to figure out which would be best for us to start off with, talking or writing when trying to remember these. But stay tuned. We will be right back with Shaman Avalon Sakti on Truth Brigade Radio. Just a few minutes left, Sakti. You mentioned about power objects and symbols in dreams. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sometimes you see an object in a dream that you're being told by the dream itself, by what happens in the dream, that this can heal you, help you, or be positive. Sometimes I dreamt a particular crystal, and I would actually look for it in the waking world, and I would find the specific crystal, which then had special power for me, so I kept it. And sometimes I'm not talking about symbols such as you have all these books about dream symbols and what they mean, but you might actually see certain objects or some symbols that you can then draw or create a power object yourself. Sometimes you are shown that in dreams.
Okay, so you're saying if you have a dream or in your dreams you remember a certain object, a crystal, a mushroom, a plant, anything, a book, or if you see that repeatedly, that might be your power object?
Yeah, even if it's just once, if the dream goes with a deep emotion, you always have to watch out for the emotion in the dream. In the beginning, when I wrote down my dreams, I only wrote down what happened, like I went from A to B, I saw this, I did that. It was kind of boring. And it was only afterwards that I figured out that what did I actually feel. Then I started writing down, like, okay, I felt exhilarated, I felt disgust, I had a bad feeling about this, and this is when the dreams really took off. You have to connect it with your emotions. If in a dream you felt very empowered, then look at what was it that made you feel empowered. Or if you dreamt that in the dream you were collecting herbs and you were making yourself a little leather pouch, like a totem pouch to wear, or power object, then maybe you can go about doing exactly the same thing in waking life, and this object will have power for you.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. What if you don't really remember any object like that? What if you're just, we've talked here about like superhero dreams or whatever, and you don't need to have objects, weapons, plants, or maybe you're just blind and don't really see them. What does that mean?
Well, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, you don't need to have an object, but sometimes you would like to have one, because the tools are just an extension of yourself. But they can be useful, but it should not ever come to the point where you think without something you're nothing. The power is always with you, but it can be enhanced through other things sometimes.
Okay, so just because you're not seeing or remembering, or you're not aware of having a power object, doesn't mean you're doing something wrong.
No, it just means pay attention to what you're being shown, because things sometimes have a deeper meaning. Say if you've asked for a healing dream and you start dreaming about herbs, then it's very likely that Spirit is showing you these are the herbs that you need to heal your problem. I have done that before with my cats as well, and I had very good results with that. And so pay attention and don't just think, okay, it was a dream. If you ask for a healing dream, you start to dream about crystals and herbs, or doing a particular ritual, or releasing some kind of issue, then this is what you need to do to get well.
Okay, well, let's say we don't have a power object or symbol and we want one. How would we bring it with us into our dreams?
And then this is the intent that you set before you go to bed. Said, I'd like to be shown a power object in my dream that I should somehow get in my possession. And then when you fall asleep, repeat your little mantra, show me my power object tonight. And just see what happens.
Okay. Now, what if you do get to see one and you want to take it back to the real world, or the real world, whatever, this waking state we're living in? Is that possible to kind of carry over? Say you have a special sapphire here, and you want to bring it to your dreams. I mean, of course, use that intent. But what if it's something that you found or came across in your dream, just random, when asking to be shown that symbol or object? How would we be able to carry that over into the waking state?
Well, it would be nice, of course, if we could manifest it and you wake up with that sapphire in your hand.
Well, I've heard of things like that happening, necklaces and such, so...
I think it's possible, but it has not happened to me. I can tell you that this has not happened to me, but the way it happens to me usually is that I then have to go on a quest, and the challenge is to find it in physical reality.
Ah, okay. We've even had a caller here that dreamt about an object, and she was actually looking, it was through a series of dreams in a market-type area, and anyway, and it was like going through a search through a few dreams and then finally found it. But I've also heard of other dreams where they dream of a certain object or piece of jewelry, and then it just appears wherever they happen to be the next day or within the next week or something.
Yeah, that can happen. There was one time I had a problem, and I was told by my guides, you need to find mandrake root today. And I thought, today? I didn't think I could find mandrake root on that day in the town where I was. But, okay, so I went out and I was, searching all kind of herbalist shops, and I didn't get it, and I was about to give up when I went into a little witchy shop, and they happened to have it. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Well, good you listen to your dreams. But, Shakti, I'm so sorry we are out of time and we have to cut right there. But we're going to have you back on real soon again. So thank you again for sharing your time and wisdom with us. Thank you all for being here tonight.